Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. The honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, and roll well. Peace and blessing, salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. All right, this lesson I'm going to get into this article on shtfplan.com, which stands for Shit Hits the Fan, or Shit Hit the Fan. All right, and this is an article that I found on here on the front page, and it says, World War III, Trump sanctions Iran. They respond by launching military war drills. All right, it was posted November 5th, 2018, which I believe is today. Yes. All right. The United States may have to learn the hard way that bullying and using sanctions is not always going to work. In fact, in response to increased sanctions on Iran, the nation has launched military war drills, likely with the United States in mind. I declare the code name for the beginning of this joint air defense drills Velayat 97 of Islamic Republic of Iran's military and Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, said Habibullah Sayari. Slaki if I'm mispronouncing that. I know I probably did. Deputy Coordinator of Iranian Army. As President Donald Trump's toughest ever sanctions on oil exports, shipping, and banks hit Iran, the country retaliated by launching military drills. Iran's military took part in defense drills across the country on the same day the United States imposed tough sanctions on the country, seemingly to send a message to the United States government. According to the Express UK, Trump says that Iran is struggling already due to his administration's very tough policies. More than 100 companies have pulled their businesses from Iran due to the further sanctions. Thousands of protesters in response chanted "Death to America" on the eve of the sanctions, which targeted the Middle Eastern country's vital energy and banking sectors, according to NDTV. Thousands of Iranians chanting "Death to America" rallied on Sunday to mark the anniversary of the seizure of the U.S. Embassy during the 1979 Islamic Revolution too. It wasn't just about the sanctions, however. Those have played a big role in the ratcheting up of political tensions across the globe. We'll see what happens with Iran, but they're not doing very well, I can tell you, Trump said. But his words ring hollow as Iranian leader Hassan Rouhani vowed to disobey the United States sanctions and his country would continue to sell oil. America wanted to cut to zero Iran's oil sales, but we will continue to sell our oil to break sanctions, said Rouhani in defiance of the United States' harsh rhetoric and ink on paper. We are working diligently to make sure we support the Iranian people and that we direct our activity towards ensuring that the Islamic Republic of Iran's malign behavior is changed, said Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. That's the goal, that's the mission, and that's what we will achieve on behalf of the president. All right, and every time in history that a trade war has been happened, a trade war has happened, which keep in mind that America's in a trade war with several different countries still. Whenever they, throughout history, have done trade wars, they've always escalated to real wars because you're basically targeting the economy and the heart of the country, okay? And there's going to be a point where they're going to be sick of that and they're going to go to war, okay? Because they're sick of those sanctions and they know that the sanctions won't get lifted unless they fight back, okay, with physical arms, all right? Now this is another article from the same website. It says, aftershocks rattle South Carolina, or Slovakia, Aftershocks rattle Southern California. I thought it said Carolina for a second. Slovakia. Aftershocks rattle Southern California after 4.4 magnitude earthquake strikes. A 4.4 magnitude earthquake struck in Southern California on Tuesday night, shortly after a 3.4 magnitude aftershock shook the area, sparking more talks and fears of the big one. Which they actually made a movie about this, which could be predictive programming, which was called, let me just put it up on the screen. I believe it was called Los Angeles. Not Battle of Los Angeles. Oh, Salakia. It wasn't Los Angeles. It was San Andreas. There we go. That's what it was. Battle of Los Angeles was a good movie too, though. Yeah, so what happened in this movie is there were a giant fault line, the San Andreas fault line. There was a bunch of earthquakes that kept happening, and it eventually triggered massive ones, okay? And these massive ones led to terrible destruction of basically the whole state, okay? And it also led to a tsunami later on, okay, which you can watch that movie if you want. But this, could become a reality, all right? But reading on, according to USA Today, the earthquake was centered near the Los Angeles County city of L.A. Verne, about 83 miles northwest of Palm Springs and 25 miles east of downtown Los Angeles. Both the original quake and the aftershock were recorded shortly after 7:30 p.m. Pacific time and were separated by just under a minute. Tuesday night's quake also came just one day after the Coachella Valley near Palm Springs was jolted by a magnitude 3.0 quake north of Indio and east of Desert Hot Springs, according to the United States Geological Survey. The Associated Press reported that the quake shook buildings in downtown Los Angeles and could be felt 40 miles to the northwest of Silmar. The quake was also be felt. The quake could also be felt, and they just had a typo, I think. The quake could also be felt in northern portions of San Diego County, including a location 80 miles away. These earthquakes have renewed discussions and fears of the big one, the inevitable massive earthquake that will completely devastate the West Coast. And there's that word, inevitable, again. All right, so this could be inevitable. The economy collapse or the stock market crash is inevitable. Them making the microchip implant mandatory is inevitable. America being laid desolate by nuclear missiles is inevitable. All right, Yahweh sending his son Yahweh Shai to gather the elect is inevitable. All right, martial law being implemented is inevitable. All right, people being put to death in FEMA camps and all of this, being executed is inevitable. Okay, what else is there? The heathen nations going into slavery is inevitable. All right, but reading on, I'll read this right here. Starting on June 7th, 2016, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, will be conducting a large-scale drill that has been named Cascadia Rising, that will simulate the effects of a magnitude 9.0 earthquake along the Cascadia subduction zone and an accompanying West Coast tsunami dozens of feet tall. According to the official flyer of the event, more than 50 counties plus major cities, tribal nations, state and federal agencies, private sector businesses, and non-governmental organizations across 3 states, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, would be participating. All right, so this is old right here, this that they put in. In addition to Cascadia Rising, United States Northern Command will be holding 5 other exercises simultaneously. According to the final draft of the Cascadia Rising drill plan, those 5 exercises are entitled Ardent Century 2016, Vigilant Guard, Special Focus Exercise, Turbo Challenge, and Joint Logistics Over the Shore. The primary scenario that of all of these participants will be focusing on will be one that involves a magnitude 9.0 earthquake along the Cascadia subduction zone, followed by a giant tsunami that could displace up to 1 million people from Northern California to Southern Canada. The end of the American dream. All right, the American dream has already been done with for a while now. Okay, now it's the American nightmare. Although there were no reports of damages immediately following the earthquakes and aftershocks, many still ponder the implications of increased seismic activity. The San Andreas Fault in Southern California gets far more headlines in the news, however. The Cascadia subduction zone is a much larger threat by far. And you never know, man. How could have both of them be triggered? This fault zone is where the Juan de Fuca plate meets the North American plate, and it stretches approximately 700 miles from northern Vancouver Island all the way down to northern California. A massive earthquake along the Cascadia subduction zone would come with a wall of water in the form of a deadly tsunami. Although it seems unlikely, it seems, all right? And we're not about what things seem, because first of all, the news, the mainstream news, they're always going to tell you that things are going good and this and that, when really it's the opposite, okay? Because they don't want people to become irrational and freak out, all right? Because they know that people can't handle reality, all right? But that's what the apostles and elders on down at GMS give you, is reality, okay? Nothing more, nothing less. Even though it seems unlikely, those who are prepared for the possibility of the big one will fare much better in the event that it actually occurs. All right. So, big things, man. Big things. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Isn't the trade war considered a war? And we're basically in a Cold War again, the United States and Russia. They're basically about to start a nuclear arms race with Russia and China. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, and they have been coming to pass for a long time, all right? Rumors of wars is nothing new, okay? But they are definitely escalating more and more towards the final war, which is known as World War III. But the end is not yet, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, all right? We're already seeing these nations rise against nations, which is the race wars, all right? Especially between Israel and Edom, there's a lot of turmoil spewing, and kingdom against kingdom, which would be like the United States and Iran, or Russia and the United States and China, Israel and Iran. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And all these things are rising, man. All these are the beginning of sorrows. All right, now we're going to stop right there with that. All these are the beginning of sorrows. This ties in with 2nd Esdras chapter 16. All right, this is 2nd Esdras 16. Start at verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? All right, so Ezra is even pondering who's going to deliver him in those days. That's how scary it is, man. All right, we're entering into extremely terrifyingly beautiful times, is the best way I can put it. Okay, it's beautiful because we know that it's necessary, and we know that we're that much closer to the heavenly kingdom, which is eternal. Okay, we just got one big bump left to go over on the road, man, and then it's a smooth drive the rest of the way forever. Okay, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Okay? And ultimately, all this is going to end with a major climax of Yahweh sending his son Yahushua and the angels to gather the elect with what you call UFOs, right, which are the chariots. And they're going to be destroying buildings and killing people and all that too, with the weapons on the chariots. Okay, but the main conclusion of it is that nuclear missiles are going to destroy America, man. The United States, from California to New York to Florida to Oregon, all these places in between, and anything I may have missed on the outsides. America as a whole, the United States, is going to be laid desolate by nuclear ICBM missiles. Okay? And they've showed you that many times in many movies and video games. All right? This is, I'll get Isaiah 34 and 4. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. That's a mushroom cloud. And all their hosts shall fall down, and as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Okay, and Idumea just means Edom, basically. All right. That sounds a lot like a nuclear missile, doesn't it? Okay, now let's go to Malachi 4 and 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Okay, period. Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Okay? If you want a visualization of that, look up Terminator 2 nuclear scene on YouTube. Okay? So that's the conclusion, all right? That's the end game of America, all right, of the United States, is that nuclear missiles are going to destroy it. Okay? And unless you repent and get right as an Israelite, then you're going to be one of those people that dies by those missiles. Okay? So our Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone of Ruel. Peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. Shalom.